Imagine.
What are those for?
So Kikuyu is his first language, and then English, French, and Swahili is like seeping in there by osmosis or something. And yeah.
What?
So that's it, 4 languages.
So how has motherhood been to you?
So I had a very easy pregnancy. That was I was strong. I practiced yoga throughout. I had a horrible birth experience.
Horrible. I've got to ask, what happened?
23 hours of labor and then an emergency C-section.
No.
And then I convulsed on the table, and then my son came out. He wasn't breathing. Like, his father was freaking out. He's like, these people, they might just die.
Oh my
and
gosh.
yeah.
Wait,
So,
23 hours
23
of
hours.
labor.
Yeah. 23 hours.
Okay.
So, but for some reason, I still want more kids.
Okay.
I don't like focus on that.
Yeah.
I know it was painful, but for some reason, it's just, I don't remember the pain really, which they tell you happens to women.
Actually, yeah, my obstetrician said the same thing. Because right after, I was like, I'm not going to do this again. I'm never doing this. And he was like, no, women say this. And then in about a month, I almost kicked him in his face.
But it's also finite. Like, you know it's going to end. It's not like you're going to be in pain for 10 years.
No, but I have the memory of it. I'd literally just pushed my daughter out. And I was like, I'm not doing this again. Ever, not doing this. And he was like, you will.
Do you still think that?
No, I will. I'm going to have more kids.
I'll see.
I don't know why. Like, I don't know. But
the time after was actually the worst part. I call it a fluid time. You're breastfeeding. No one tells you that you sweat so much. Were you stunned by how much you were sweating?
I don't know if I remember sweating.
Because you know your blood volume almost doubles, and all that water has to go somewhere. So I think because I was a very active pregnant woman, I think when I finally sat down, all that water, first of all, just leaked into my legs. So I was like sitting like this, trying to get the fluid out. Yeah. What do I enjoy most of? I enjoy getting to know my son. Like, to me, he's fascinating. Yeah. I'm like, hey, today, what's going on? What are you thinking? Yeah, so maybe I'm that mom who's like, can you get out of my face? Can you give me 2 minutes, mom? Is it okay?
No, I bet he still loves it. I think maybe teenagehood, you might get a little bit of that, like, mom, oh gosh.
Yes.
But I think, but who knows? If you continue this relationship, maybe it'll be all his life. With all your other children, it'll be.
I hope so, yes.
I'm curious to know if you are planning to have such an open relationship with your son the same way your mother was really open with you. Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
He knows to tell people, I don't want you to touch me.
Right.
We've role played.
Okay.
I'm like, what's easy for you to say? He's like, I don't like this game.
Okay.
You know, I'm like, if someone's tickling you, you don't like it, you can say, I don't like this game.
Yeah.
Yes.
And teaching them to have ownership over their bodies quite early. In fact, there's something that you started around
Kids and Bodies.
Kids and Bodies.
It's an online course. It's on zd.com.
Yeah.
So it's broken up into 5 parts. So it's kids at different points of development. So the 0 to 5 course is up. Then we're doing 6 to 9. Then the 10 to 13. Then teenagers and early adults.
Okay.
So we'll cover everything.
Oh, I love that.
Everything from like body ownership, and it starts even when you're potty training, like to teach your child is the difference between pee-pee and like the actual urine, that like don't collapse the two. Yes, it's not the same thing.
Oh, I love that. Again, going back to you having conversations that most people were uncomfortable to have and yet are so vital.
Even though my mom wasn't like that, she wasn't saying that to you, all these terms or whatever, but she was very, this is your body, if you don't like it, if you don't want somebody to touch you, this is what you say. So unlike a lot of people who were just told say no, I was actually taught how to say the no.
Okay.
Yes, how to actually deliver the no.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was like, ringa for them. And if they don't listen to you, insult them. Become the rude girl. I will back you up.
Love
Imagine
that. And that kind of power, it just makes you want, like, it doesn't matter what happens. It makes you feel like you can go out into the world and be like,
because I was like 14 and I was very uncomfortable to go to a specific country club we used to go to. And my mom noticed, she was like, what's wrong? And I was like, you know, the men there, they kind of talk to me a certain way. She was like, tukana them. What are they going to do? Tell your father you insulted them. Under what circumstances? I was like, what, mom? She's like, tukana them. It's okay.
There's nothing like knowing you've got that kind of support.
Backup, right?
Yeah, especially with your parents.
Yes. So that's something I'm a big fan of. Don't just tell kids to say no, but actually how to say the no. And teach your boy that only yes means yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh. Only yes means yes.
And a yes with a smile, like an enthusiastic yes, not yes.
Yeah.
You know, a proper full-on yes.
Beautiful. So earlier you said how that motherhood made you want to be a little bit more private? Can you
A
break down
lot
why?
more
A
private.
lot more private. Can you break down why?
So I got pregnant. I didn't get pregnant. It was a plan. It wasn't like a mistake, a surprise. No,
Okay.
it was a plan.
Okay.
So and then people started asking questions and invitations like, will you do the cover of this magazine? Will you do this interview? And then suddenly I was just like, no, I don't want to talk about my baby.
While you were still pregnant.
Yes.
So you felt that even
yes,
while he was.
it started then. I can't even give you a whole pieces
Yeah.
why. It was just like, this is not right. I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about my family.
Yeah.
So now he's 3.5. I have a bit more freedom in the space, I think. Like I've been doing it for a while, but I'm still quite private about him. Like I won't post his pictures online.
Why is that important to you?
He's an individual. If he wants to now have a public profile, he's free to do it. You know, there'll be many more apps. Now we have Instagram, Snapchat, I know all these things are coming up. But I'm sure he'll have the opportunity to do that for himself. I don't think it's my job to take that away from him.
Yeah.
Plus, media can be very painful. People say horrible things to you. A friend of mine put pictures of her 3 boys and somebody said some very horrible things about her kids. Like they're not cute or whatever. People are mean. So why would I expose him to that? Especially before he's even learned how to manage happiness. Now he's managing cruelty.
Pain and
exactly.
rejection.
So no, I'm like,
Right.
you stay away with your bile.
Yeah,
leave
and
my
you'd
baby,
rather just
leave my
keep,
baby alone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but you're open to speaking about, say, your journey co-parenting.
Co-parenting, for me, I think has been easier than most. Because I had a child with a friend of mine, and it wasn't like, oh, we're having a baby, we're going to be together. It was always a co-parenting kind of conversation. So
from the onset?
yes, which is bizarre. It was a very naive choice. Let me just say that.
Naive. I just feel like it's very alternative. It's like
It's a bizarre thing.
That's
to do.
really.
And it's naive in this sense. We thought, oh, you're an adult man, I'm an adult woman, we're having a baby.
Yeah.
Then our mothers had lunch. They're like, so what are we naming this child?
Okay. So but that's wait. I think I have to digest that for a second. I had no idea.
Yes.
You both decided to co-parent from and without any kind of hey, let's be
we
together.
dated on and off, like we've been in each other's lives for years,
Yeah.
and then it was just like, okay, fine, let's do this.
Let's have. Right. Okay.
But what I mean by naive, you forget. Okay, I wasn't thinking at the time. I thought I wanted a baby, he wants a baby. Like it was, you forget, like you have family. This child now has aunties and uncles and cousins and other relationships you have to create and facilitate. Grandfathers on both sides. You're like all that.
Yeah.
So it opens your whole life up and your whole heart up. That's what parenting does. And then my life is now, it's not about me.
Right.
Like there's a whole other human.
Yeah.
So I have to think about him.
So for a lot of people, co-parenting is something that happens because
It's plan B.
It's plan B. It was never plan A.
It's- yeah.
Yeah, it was
It's hell no, we weren't
this isn't
going
working.
here.
Yeah, and often
Yeah.
it's dotted with a lot of hate and almost like a
Heartache,
exactly,
disappointment,
pain,
rejection,
and
yeah.
maybe some kids. The children aren't always at the core of it. It's almost just ugh, we're gonna
That's
figure
true.
this out. Mad at you. So I want to hear from you how you've been able to make it work and what tips you might have or what lessons you've learned that have
It
made this a
still
little bit
takes-
easier.
So we kind of function like we're a divorced couple, even though we're not divorced. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like we just jumped over that thing
Yeah.
and got here. So it takes a lot of emotional intelligence, I think. And then you have to keep your promises. And you still end up having some very deep conversations. It's like you're a couple. So you talk about money, you talk about, if something happens to you, then what do we do here? If something happens to me, what do we do here? Discipline, religion, are we going to church? Who's taking the baby to church? You know what I mean? You still end up having, that's why I say it's naive. I wouldn't recommend it.
Right.
I would not recommend what
what you did.
because you're kind of still having all the marital whatever conversations. Yes.
Because a child is involved, and there's another being that you're putting out into the world.
Yes.
And I know, even just from speaking to you for the past 30 minutes. I know that you're such an intentional human being that you want to do the best in putting out like a wholesome human being.
Exactly. So you discuss what school are we taking the child to, why, what education system are we picking, what do you want for your son, like what's your dream, what's my dream, so blah blah.
So how do you handle those moments where you're on different pages?
We haven't been on drastically different. Actually, have we? No, we're very aligned, like in terms of discipline. I don't believe in hitting kids. I think he thinks I'm a little too open in the sex conversation department, but he's like, you know what? It's okay. It's working.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yes. So actually, we're quite aligned now that I think about it. We haven't had like a serious disagreement on something.
I'm curious to know also if maybe you have plans for if you do have a major disagreement, maybe you think he ought to go to boarding school and the dad is like, absolutely not.
That I can see happening. He wants boarding school, I don't.
So do you have you pre-planned for like, okay, if we do have a disagreement, this is what, if we can't see eye to eye on the fundamentals of raising our son, this is what would, okay.
I think because my son is with me, we're just gonna go with my choice.
So there you go.
No, that's just in my head. This is in my head, right?
It'll work. Well, I'll ask you then. When the time comes, just give me a call. We'll call you back and be like,
you're making me think about some...
How did you handle that?
Huh.
Yeah.
Sharing a child with somebody is very interesting because you kind of want to hold your baby like this, but your child doesn't belong to you. They belong, like he has a dad, he has aunties, he has grandmas or whatever. Yeah. He has his own friends, people who come into your own life. Like now I have friends because of him, like new moms. I'm like, hey, our kids are friends. So we are now kind of friendly.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. The co-parenting thing, it's hard to do.
Right.
It takes a lot of emotional management.
Yeah.
Yes.
What do you know for sure about parenting, about motherhood?
It is it's the most difficult thing I've ever done and also the most surprising. So sometimes I'm learning things about myself. I'm like, I had that in me. Wow. Like I've pleasantly surprised myself.
Yeah.
I also didn't know I could love another person this much. Yeah, I'm like, really? Like you think you've been in love with a guy, you think you love your parents, you're like, I love my siblings, and then you have your own child. And like you spend a lot want first year like this.
Yeah.
Just stupidly gazing.
Yeah.
Yes. I want my son to be proud of me. So he's made me fearless. He's made me fearless. Yeah. Like what I want to see in the world, I'm like, I'm creating it. I want him to live in that world. Like so things like dadisphere and that kind of thing. I used to really care what people think. I realized people think about you for maybe 2 weeks and then they move on.
Yeah.
If they give you 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't think they even
I feel like 2 weeks is quite generous. You're right. Yeah.
Even 2 hours I think is a stretch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think people think, then they're like, anyway, whatever. It's her thing. It might be like a juicy story. Oh, do you know what Valentine's doing?
Yeah.
Do you know what baby daddy is?
Yeah.
And then it's just boring and they move on.
They keep it moving.
So that has made me, it's made me fearless.
I love that.
Yeah.
Fearless and a love like no other. A love you've never felt. I concur. I have moments where I think, I can't believe you can love. And even when you feel like you've loved the most, you find more love. That's what I find surprising, that I'm like, how do I love you more today than I did 6 months ago? Surely I felt at 6 months that was the peak.
Yes.
Like this, for sure.
And I even find my son energizing. Like some days I get home, I'm exhausted, but I'm like, I see him, I'm like, okay, fine, let's go for a walk. Okay, let's do bath time.
The things we do.
Yes, that stuff.
The things we do.
Yes.
All right, we've got to take a break. When we come back, I'll ask about dadisphere, which is one of the most powerful things that we have currently running, I believe.
Oh, thank you.
So we'll be back in a moment. Don't go anywhere.
The theme was wounds.
Yeah. I'm still trying to recover. In a beautiful way. But yeah.
So yes, so that's what it is. So women share their stories and ideas in like 15-minute talks. Yes.
Yeah. First, I mean, I had an idea. I knew it was like women telling stories. One of my friends was sharing her story, Patricia Kiharo.
Yeah.
And I was coming to like support Patricia.
Okay.
And then like, let's see, what's happening. And I don't know who the first person, it may even have been
It was Patricia. She spoke first,
and like, I just was like, this is incredible. I've known her for several years, but I never knew her story. And I realized, and actually just the other day, in therapy, my therapist was saying how you'd be surprised to know how many people are having surface level relationships where I'm there for you. I'll come for your party. I'll come for your event. I'll be at your baby shower. I'll take care of your baby. I'll be there for you. But I may not ask you, why do you continue to let that person take advantage of you? Or I may not dive deep into like,
or how does this really
or like
feel for you? Yes.
Or,
what's your experience?
It's more like, oh, I'm so sorry that happens. Anyway, so point is, I remember even just thinking, I didn't know that about a friend who I care and love so much. I didn't know that. And then the other ladies started sharing their stories, and I was like, this is getting more and more like beautiful. And to see, it was beautiful. And I know we were talking, the theme was wounds, but it was so beautiful seeing women speak with such, there was no shame. There was no shame in,
like
in what, this is what happened to me. This is how this is how I dealt with it, without it even being like, this is what you should do. Let me tell you.
Yeah, it's not prescriptive.
Yeah.
Yes, we avoid that.
Yeah.
Because I think people switch off.
Yeah.
When someone starts telling you,
and so therefore, point one, point two, and then the last one, and I feel like this is the most I've probably ever talked on this show. I feel like I'm interviewed. You really have interviewed me here. But the last one really got me.
Radical.
Because it was, it was just, I didn't anticipate to have that kind of reaction.
So the talks are available, Datasphere TV on YouTube, because I'm sure someone's like, so what happened? What did she say?
And you should go and watch. And also just attend the event.
On Saturday.
It's coming on Saturday, May 4th, ladies.
Yes.
Ladies.
No, men can attend.
And men. Okay,
yes, men can attend.
Yeah, true, okay. Yeah.
And we're getting more and more pressure now to do something for guys. People are like Kakasphere and Dugusphere. I'm like, I don't know. So it's interesting you said that you know, people don't really know their friends. For as long as I can remember, people would have these conversations with me. Women would tell me, this is what I'm living through, this is what I'm going through. So maybe, I don't know if you've done Landmark, but there's a word like, maybe I'm a clearing for it. Like, I'm like, it's okay, you can tell me. But people talk to me like that. So now when Datasphere is happening, people are like, you mean people talk like this? I'm like, this is my life, what do you mean? So I'm getting that's why it shifted towards this more healing, because people had your experience. Like, no, we want this talk. This is the one that did.
And I guess it's a great challenge for women too, and for friends, for families to have these conversations with each other.
Yes.
To be like, and it's okay, and to not see it as like a definitive moment for you, and that's it. This is who you are, period. You're this painful, like that one thing. And I guess I'm really just talking about the wounds one now. But I know you have different.
You're not the heartache. You're not the heartbreak. You're not the whatever it is, bankruptcy, divorce, like whatever. You lost your child. Like that's not. It's a thing in your life, and yes, it's painful, but it's not the defining moment. Yes. And also, women are learning, I don't know, there's a lot of mentorship kind of as a side, like validation, I think. Like, oh, I'm not alone. We have so much pressure to be perfect. So I think seeing another woman say, so this fell apart. Yes, or this worked really well. Because it's not all tears. It's not,
And actually, it took
you
me
came
back.
for wounds.
Yeah, I came for wounds. Let me tell you, I cried my little heart out. I couldn't believe it. But it just even reminded me of how you described yourself earlier when you said, I'm this strong woman. How can I have been in this space?
In this abusive relationship.
But also and that's what this space is like. Like, yes, you can be a strong woman, but you can also have failed. You can also have fallen down. You could also have lost something. You could also have built something. And you
can also fall apart.
And you can also fall apart.
Like you can say, I really tried, and this thing just flopped. Like for real. Like gave it everything, and it just. So, and I'm sad. And I'm crying. Like, you can.
And it's okay.
And it's
tomorrow
okay.
I'll wipe the tears and I'll get back to work. So you started this in February. Can you tell me about the first event and how much has changed to
So
like the one that's coming up?
The first event didn't actually happen. It was supposed to be December 2017.
Okay.
I knew how 2017 was 2 elections. So it was supposed to be October and then it got pushed to December. And then there I am and I'm doing shows and I'm saying this is happening. We sold 1 ticket. 1. So I had to cancel the event, refund somebody's money. I've actually never said that in public because you know you issue a statement, you're like, so due to unavoidable circumstances, we had to postpone. So then what was the first one for everybody else was the second one for me. It went really well. Adele Onyango spoke, a few other women that people don't know that well. It went really well. The response was amazing. And then I was like, okay, so we're continuing. Then you think the second one will be amazing. We had a lower turnout. It rained. I don't know why do Kenyans stay home in the rain.
It's like lives are over, don't go to work, everything is cancelled.
So it's just been a process. And then getting feedback from women. So it used to be a Thursday night. Women were like, nope, we want it Saturday morning. We're doing homework with our kids. We don't want this on a Thursday night. So I shifted that. I realized I couldn't coach the speakers myself, so I hired a speech coach. It's been growth. It's been growth.
So how do you decide on who to have as a speaker?
Women nominate themselves, or they nominate like women they want to hear from, or friends they have. They're like, my friend has this amazing story. Or sometimes I just meet people, you tell me a story, I'm like, so?
Right, and then of course you are this like vessel that's like, and by the way, what she says is so true. I can feel myself and the fact that I feel like I could be very open with you and say things that I normally wouldn't say. And it'll stop here. And normally wouldn't say to someone who I haven't spent that much time with. But I sense that energy about you. And I think, and I don't know whether it's also because you're very open, and I don't know whether that's it, or if you just have this aura or energy about you that
I'm feeling very special now.
That makes women or people feel like, yeah, let me just tell you how that spoke to me, or let me tell you what's happening here.
So when are you speaking?
See, now I'm really nervous about like, I would do the interview. So actually, why don't you share the format? Because
So when you came, we had 5 speakers, and 1 was an interview. But now we're doing 6 speakers, still with 1 interview somewhere in the middle. And it actually started with Amina Abdi. Amina Abdi Rabah, I keep forgetting the last name. And so she couldn't come up with a talk, like she's just so busy with her emceeing and radio and TV, everything. So I was like, you know what, I could just interview you. So then people loved it, so we've kept it. It's an experience. I don't think I'm the best interviewer.
I think you were good. I think you did a great job with the one that I saw. And that's what I was going to say. I don't know if I would speak, but I would be interviewed by you. But the problem is I'd feel too safe, and then later I'd be like, what did I share? No.
So we discuss in advance.
Oh, so you do it in advance. So you don't throw any like,
I don't ever want anyone to feel embarrassed or shamed. Also, some of the things, your story doesn't just belong to you. You have family who's impacted by what you say. So we with the speech coach, we're very responsible. So if you come up there, like Carol Binjo spoke about her marriage and her husband being a recovering alcoholic. So you see, I don't want you to say things, then you go home and your husband's like, bye.
Like, that was
how
great.
dare you anika me like this, you know? So, or even like Elaine spoke about her mother and, you know, not knowing who her dad was and the mental illness from that. So we try and be responsible. I'm like, you want a relationship with your mom after this. YouTube will exist forever. So don't say things. It's not that you'll lie or anything. It's just be responsible with what you put out there. Tell them in advance. They're not in the supermarket. People are like, you're the woman who did.
And then what? What's the theme for this one is beginning and ends?
Endings and beginnings.
Oh, endings and beginnings.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that it would make more sense for it to be that way. Endings and beginnings.
Typically, I come up with a theme and I think, okay, the underlying thing here will be X. So the other one, the moment of, I thought it would be like a point of inspiration or something, but the theme, the underlying, like if you watch all the talks, it's freedom. It's like personal freedom ended up being the underlying theme. So this one, we've noticed a lot of anger in the room. But endings, I thought it would be, transition, acceptance, this is what's happening in my life. No, it's about anger. But anger is a part of acceptance. I think you get angry. So I'm also learning a lot with every single data.
And anger stems from hurt or
yes,
or maybe shame. It always stems from, so there's something even deeper than
also
just like
disappointment. Like this shouldn't have been like this. Yes. So it's interesting, each theme. So we've got a woman talking about losing her daughter to suicide. And we've got Sheila Kwamboka, who we're meeting her tomorrow to finalize what we're discussing. She's the interview.
Oh, the
and I'm
interview.
like, Sheila, we're all over the place. Like, we need to narrow it down.
Okay.
And then we've got Sinaida Ora, who plays rugby for the rugby team. She's talking about figuring out who she is and why she plays rugby, like young adulthood, some of the mistakes she made. Forgiveness. Who else? Okay, Najda Khan. I don't want to give away what Najda is.
Okay, don't say.
She's talking about her first marriage, let's put it that way.
Okay.
And also a bit of body weight issues, because people said, uyu ata olewa, like take her to school, make sure she has a good education, she's too big to get married. Can you imagine? Horrible things. Yeah. And then Dr. Tindika Kuti just like finished one job, but is also dealing with something personal. She's going to talk about losing her mom.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's inspiration in the room. It's not just, it's not all tears. It sounds like all tears.
No, but what it is, and even when I said like I cried my little heart out, it also was a very cathartic moment for me.
Nice.
I needed that.
Oh.
And that's, to me, it's one of the things from last year, like one of the moments in last year where I are very, stand out for me. One of the moments last year that stood out for me, because I needed that. So I don't even mean it like, this is so sad, just go and cry. I mean, like that was what my body, my heart, my system needed.
Okay.
So whether we're crying or celebrating, I know it's going to be like a healing moment, like you described it.
Okay. And then Lucy. Lucy is a midwife. She does home births.
Oh.
She actually brought my nephew into the world.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So what led her to that? Like, she's a very qualified midwife. Why did she leave like typical like hospitals and whatever and decide to do this?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting.
An interesting one.
Yes, what time I'm very excited. So doors open at 9. We start at 10 and you'll be done by 1. There'll be food, but bring some cash for that.
Yeah.
Yes, and then tickets are 2,000 bob. Yeah, you missed the early bird. Poleni.
Oh, it's okay.
I was gonna say early bird, but it's over.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what's your dream for Dadasphere? I know you've even started Dadasphere Talks or Dada Talks?
Dadasphere Chats.
Dadasphere Chats. That's the YouTube.
So Dadasphere TV is the YouTube channel.
Okay.
Then Dadasphere Chats, we're using like talks, because we've had women talk about everything from infertility, like relationships with your mother, all that stuff. So we're using that as a jumping off point to have deeper conversations with other people who, like Sharon, don't want to be on the stage necessarily.
Yeah.
So, and just go deeper into the topic.
Okay.
My dream for Dadasphere is Dadasphere TV. Like, I want a TV station. It's all women. It's all about us and how amazing we are and the things we're overcoming, the things we're dealing with, what we're struggling with, all that. Yes. I think African womanhood is so interesting.
I think so too.
Yes.
And I think you're doing an incredible job of providing a space for people to share that, to explore that, to reveal that.
I want to be Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry?
I want to do movies, like female leads, soap operas, comedies, everything. Like, I think we have it, like us chicks.
Tyler Perry, I love it.
Yes.
That
man has 300 acres of a studio, like Black Panther. I'm calling it Wakanda. So Wakanda exists on Tyler Perry's 300 acres. That's where it was shot.
And that man's story is, it shouldn't be, like lived in his car, did so many of those plays before anything even panned out for years.
I don't even know why he hasn't done a movie about
I'm sure he
because it would be like a 3-part.
Yeah, no, I'm sure he will, because that is one incredible story. It has like lived through abuse and came out stronger, and so such an important vessel when it comes to sharing the Black people's stories and just like culture as well.
And again, he used to be told, oh, Black people don't go to the movies.
Yeah.
Black people don't do this. They don't do the other. And it's the same thing. Women don't read. Women don't watch TV. Women don't da-da-da. But it's not. It's because we're not seeing ourselves.
Right.
Yes.
Valentine, thank you.
Thank you.
This is so lovely.
To mentor me.
Hey, put it out there.
See, he's on Twitter.
Make it happen.
Just slide
just
in the
DMs.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of slides that we want for our lives.
That's
those are kind of
true.
sliding into the DMs that we should be doing. Not the other kind. We're gonna cancel those. Put those on the side for now. For now. Thank you, Valentine. Remember, this Saturday, May 4th. Western Heights.
On Karuna Road near Sarit Center.
There you go.
Yes.
Alrighty.
And tickets on the website, dadasphere.com. Yes.
Okay, dadasphere.com.
Yep.
All right, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed listening to Valentine as much as I did. I think her story is incredible, and I think what she's doing is not just beautiful, but very important as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
And make sure to attend at least one. Like once you go for one, you'll just be like you'll see what she means by it's a healing platform. It really is. Thanks everybody for watching, and thank you to Cozy Residences for your beautiful space. We'll be back tomorrow for a fun Friday show. So be there, 8 a.m. sharp. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great rest of the day. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.